Good evening and thanks for joining us on tonight's edition of Zanis News. My name is Chisha Mutale. The headlines. Government signs agreement with African parks. AU 41st Ordinary Session of the Executive Council opens. And Lundazi onion farmers appeal for support. We begin the news with the tourism sector. Government has signed a 20-year agreement with African Parks, a non-governmental profit organization, to enhance the protection and effective management of the Kafue National Park. Minister of Tourism Rodney Sikumba, who officiated at the launch, says the agreement is a milestone commitment that will put the Kafue National Parks back on the tourism map, not only in the region but also the world at large. Here's a report.
Government attaches great importance to the protection of wildlife in the country. It is from this background that government, through the Ministry of Tourism, has signed a 20-year agreement for the Kafue National Park with the African Parks Network to help secure and effectively manage the wildlife.
The agreement we are witnessing today will certainly put the Kafue National Park back on the tourism map as Zambia's gem and most preferred park to visit, not only in the region, but the world at large. This could not have come at a better time when Zambia as a country itself has just entered what His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. R.N. Chilema, calls the Champions League.
Peter Fenhead is African Parks Chief Executive.
As a result of this program, $3.6 million has already been invested into the park infrastructure and operations, including the grading of over 2,000 kilometers of roads, the construction of the state-of-the-art law enforcement center, the collaring of numerous elephants.
The traditional leadership have welcomed the Kafue National Park Historic Partnership.
So if maybe when we engage other people and put in more money, maybe there will be security for our wild animals. Not me, I'm happy about that.
We need development. We need an injection of sources. As it were, government was overstretched.
Krugas Yankuru, Zanis, Mumbwa.
We move to the Copperbelt province, where government has given Chibuluma Mine Company 3 weeks ultimatum to work on 3 sinkholes in Lufwanyama district, which have developed due to mine blasts. Deputy Provincial Permanent Secretary issued the ultimatum when he visited the area to check on the progress made by the mining firm to fill up the sinkholes, which pose a risk to the community. More in the following report.
They have continued to pose a great danger to the nearby communities. These are sinkholes developed as a result of some underground mine operations conducted by Chibuluma Mine in Fwanyama's Chifunkana area. The Provincial Administration and the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit team who physically visited the area are concerned about the sinkholes, which have now taken 6 months since they were discovered.
So I'm instructing you to, with immediate effect, to start fencing this area so that we safeguard the lives of the people that are living in the surrounding areas. There is no two ways about it. We are not going to look at the cost implication. We are not going to look at anything. For you to run this mine the way it is, it means you're making profit. It means you are vesting. You are getting something out of it. That cannot fail. That you cannot fail to fence this area. Even those where you have put those posts. When I come here, in the next maybe 3-4 weeks, I should find you start removing those posts, because it's posing a very serious danger to the people that are living in these surrounding areas.
Our main responsibility as DMMU is to make sure that the disaster risk reduction, we needed to do it to the best of our ability. Once we attend to the disasters to be before they are, it means that we'll be saving a lot of resources, we'll be saving so many lives. In any case, disaster management is a responsibility of everyone.
Mr. Kamenga also wants the company to put up permanent poles for its electric fence as opposed to using simple sticks.
If you look at the way you have fenced the restricted areas, again you went out of the bush, you pick the poles, you know, and you mount it there and you put the electrical there without insulating even the poles. But when those, that electric fence start claiming lives, we'll start coming back to you and you start saying, no, the government is rechanting our operations.
Reporting, I'm Agrippa Silumbwe.
And in health news, construction works on 3 mini hospitals in Muchinga province have reached an advanced stage. The contractor working in Chitulika, Chilanga and Luchembe mini hospitals says the 3 facilities will be handed over to the Ministry of Health in the next 2 months. Miriam Kumwenda filed in this report.
It is one of the 4 main hospitals that are yet to be completed out of the 11 that Muchinga province benefited. Chitulika Main Hospital in Impika district, whose works are above 89% complete, will soon have its equipment installed. Provincial Health Director Dr. David Suluea says government is in a hurry to operationalize the facility.
From Chinga, from the 11 that we received as a province, we have managed to complete 7. And of these completed 7 hospitals, we've actually operationalized them. They are working. So that meant that we remain with 4 that are still under construction. Basically, they are mostly in Kanchibia, Luchembe. We have one in Ipepo and also in Impika. Yeah. So all the 3 that have remained are over 90% complete. And in the few weeks that are coming, we will operationalize them.
He says construction of these main hospitals have provided healthcare services closer to people's doorsteps.
Muchinga is one of those rural provinces, and people live in very distant areas with, of course, challenges, load network challenges. So when you have a hospital within those environments, be it a main hospital, it actually goes a long way in ensuring that clinical outcomes, health services are provided to our people within the areas where they are staying. Yeah.
Contractor NMS Infrastructure Limited Project Controls Manager Benson Lunzwe says the Build and Equip project will be completed within 2 months.
This is what is called a turnkey project, meaning that we design, we build, and we equip it.
The project has also created employment for the locals. Miriam Kumwenda, reporting for Zanis in Impika, Muchinga Province.
And the 41st Ordinary Session of the Executive Council of the African Union has officially opened in Lusaka with a call for member states to enhance their collaboration in meeting the aspirations of the Agenda 2063. The meeting, which has attracted ministers of foreign affairs from African countries and members of the African Union Commission, is expected to deliberate on the various issues, among them the 2023 AU budget and Africa Continent Free Trade Area Agreement. Our staffer Michelo Lubinda now gives us the details in this report.
20 years ago, leaders from African countries converged in Lusaka to deliberate on transforming the Organization of the African Unity to African Union with purpose of improving social, economic and political situations on the continent. Zambia is again playing host to the 41st Ordinary Session of the Executive Council of the African Union and the 4th mid-year coordination meeting for the heads of state from 8 regional economic blocs and 5 bureau members of the AU.
The implementation of the aspirations of Agenda 2063 remains high in our organization's priorities. It is for this reason that I wish to call upon all of us as member states to renew our commitment to fully implement Agenda 2063 and all of its flagship projects. We therefore need to take advantage of the coming into force of the African Continental Free Trade Area so as to attain the aspirations of the African people.
For the African Union, collaborative efforts from all member states is key to addressing the various challenges on the continent.
Despite the scope and the expansion of this crisis, we have remained faithful to the objective that we set in 2001 here in Lusaka to change the political paradigm which is embodied today in the priorities and the structuring projects of Agenda 2063.
COVID-19 has been identified to be top on the agenda, and the Ministry of Health is already putting measures in place to avert any possible health threats.
What we've done is working with AU. We've informed all the delegates who are coming in. One, the vaccination part. Though we know, just like in Zambia, you're not obliged to be vaccinated. But at the same time, it's the PCR. So all the delegates who are coming into the country, their PCR done. Now, when you come into our country, we have different health points at the airport that we have set up and activated.
The ordinary session of the Executive Council of the African Union will be followed by the mid-year coordination meeting for the heads of state. Michelo Rwinda for Zanis in Lusaka.
Still on AU issues, a historian in Luapula province has urged Zambian writers to take advantage of the African Union mid-year summit to document Zambia's role in building the organization. Boyd Chipili says Zambia's strong position in the AU should be recorded, especially that this is the second time the country is hosting an AU event in about 20 years. Details in this report.
Let us all unite and celebrate together.
The African Union AU tune signifying the fourth mid-year coordination meeting in Lusaka. Different stakeholders across Zambia have shared their views in welcoming such an important gathering. Boyd Chipili is a Zambian author who wants writers to document the role of Zambia in the AU.
The authors should be also given a platform, being accredited like the way journalists are accredited, on sidelines of that meetings. At least maybe they can interact with one African leader. Yeah, being a president, a foreign affairs minister, maybe from Malawi, from Uganda, and so on, so that we get straight from the person concerned.
As a historian, Mr. Chipili wants Zambian authors to take advantage of the gathering to write books.
Please, let us try to record such important events to set a precedence so that in future we have somewhere to refer to.
Meanwhile, in interpreting the theme, Mansa District Agriculture Coordinator Arnold Muimui expects resolutions that will help promote good nutrition through agriculture.
We are going to just put up our ears so that we get more information, so that it can encourage us maybe to do better where we are not doing well. And maybe probably there will be some resolutions there that will help us also to improve our production so that we ramp it up to the required levels or standards.
For Zanis News, Godfrey Chikumbi reporting in Mansa.
From Luapula, we move to Eastern Province, where some local farmers producing onion in Lundazi district are appealing to government to help them source dryers. The onion dryers enable farmers to produce quality onion, which meets the required set standards for chain stores and the export market. Lubasi Mutafela caught up with some farmers in the district and now reports.
Blessings Banda of Lundazi district in Eastern Province is among the outgrower farmers growing red onion. With supermarkets and other bulky buyers in the country reported to be facing a short supply of onion, Banda, like many other farmers of agriculture produce, will be expected to offload their commodities on the local market. But this is not the case. Instead, Banda transports and sells his onion across the border in the neighboring Malawi due to challenges of accessing the local markets.
The major challenge which we have is the market, the Zambian market. Because the people who come to buy our onion, they buy us in Malawi. Stakeholders, chain stores, why don't you come to Lundazi in Mwase, to be specific, to come and buy this red onion so that we are able to get your own product? You see, there's been a campaign about the buy Z, the buy Zambian products. We have the red onion. We can assure you. You see, a farmer produces for a market. The only thing which we need for us to be motivated to grow more onion, we need to have a proper, stable market.
As part of the efforts to ensure farmers satisfy the local onion market, BuyZ has started organizing farmers into cooperatives.
Hii hanyezi kutive na quality wemi tupemba nditukuboma litikile ma dryers
For our onion to be of good standards, we are requesting from the government to help us with onion dryers. Once we have that, even supermarkets and other chain stores can accept our onion.
Ina quality iweme chifuka kakubanyitu kuvyaro oku bana ma dryers, that's why yuza kasayinka kuti onion yawo ni quality iweme.
Mike Ongolobe is District Agricultural Coordinator.
For this district, we have quite a number of farmers that are producing onion, particularly red crow, which has been quite available on the market, and also a lot of it going to Malawi, gender market. But for us, we think that this is not too well organized. One, because the farmers are not well organized in groups that they may have a better market. Now, basically what we are trying to do as a district is to organize these farmers at the moment so that they form up a formidable team that would put together the produce and at the end of the day have a source that they can say this is where we can go and sell.
For Banda, until the challenges of supplying onion to the local market are addressed, selling to Malawi will still remain the profitable market for now. For Zanis in Lundasi District, I'm Lubasim Tafela.
Government has reintroduced the wetland cropping component of the Food Security Pack program implemented by the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services. The program will enhance food security among vulnerable but viable farmers in 8 districts of Western Province. From the district, Sifue Mwangala now reports.
Government has observed and considered wetland cropping as a supplement to the rain-fed harvest in order to improve food security and increase food production among vulnerable farmers. In this regard, the wetland cropping component under the Food Security Pack program that was last conducted in 2012 has been reintroduced.
This flag-off is significant for the following reasons. It was last implemented in 2012. Now, because this government places a lot of premium on programs that enhance food security and nutrition, funds were found to ensure its implementation this year.
This program in the Western Province will reach out to 600 households in 8 districts. To the beneficiaries, it's our hope that you are going to put what you are going to receive today.
It is said that human beings were made in the image of God. But poverty and the hunger dehumanizes that human being. It is this gesture that you have shown us today here, that your government really cares for the dignity of man.
Development Minister extended the launch to Ikwichi area in the Murunga district, where she even toured stands of various crops that are produced by beneficiaries of the Food Security Pack. Sifue Mwangala, Zanis in Mongo district of Western Province.
The Ministry of Green Economy and Environment has reiterated its commitment to plant more trees in the country annually through the Plant a Million Tree initiative. Ruth Kambita has the rest of the story.
According to several statistics, Zambia loses about 250,000 hectares of forest annually due to deforestation. This is the reason Plant a Million, a joint public-private tree planting initiative, is promoting a tree-based economy and sustainable development through local schools and community participation. PAM has been planting over 1,000 trees per month, and the organization is yet to plant 1,000 trees this July.
Right now we have Prudential that's on board. We just finished planting 1,000 trees this month, and it's still ongoing. Again, we're planting another 1,000 trees for the month of July.
Currently, Zambia is losing about 250,000 hectares to 300,000 hectares of forest annually. What are we to do as the citizens of this country? We need to plant trees.
And Minister of Green Economy and Environment, Collins Nzovu, says government has not remained idly, but through his ministry, the government is concentrating on planting seedlings for tree planting across the country.
We may recall that a few months ago, we committed to planting 1 million trees as a ministry ourselves, graduating into a yearly average of 5 million trees. On top of that, we've also partnered with various institutions.
Reporting for Zanis in Lusaka, I am Ruthie Kambita.
And finally, in the news tonight, government has called for concerted efforts from all stakeholders to safeguard children's rights. To this effect, the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, with support from Save the Children, a humanitarian organization for children, organized a 3-day training on child protection policy. Details in this report.
Child protection in Zambia has been an issue of concern for a long time. In order to protect the welfare of children, the Ministry of Community Development, with support from Save the Children, organized a training on child protection and safeguarding policies for Kasama District Child Protection Committee. Provincial Child Development Coordinator Motion Milambo gives the objectives of the workshop.
At the end of the training workshop, we should be able to draw a plan. One, to draw up our own working policies of safeguarding children from our various institutions. Secondly, to draw a plan of monitoring, especially from the District Child Protection Committee, of monitoring which institutions are already developing this plan.
Meanwhile, Kasama District Commissioner Elizabeth Goma, who was represented by the District Administrative Officer John Terra, outlined some programs put in place by government to enhance child protection.
Some of the programs put to enhance child protection among them include increasing the number of children registered and issued with a birth certificate, ending child marriage and addressing violence against children, strengthening integrated case management for child and family welfare.
And YWCA Northern Regional Coordinator Zilot Piri has called for concerted efforts in child safeguarding activities.
We need to put our hands together and see to it that we network in a very good way. A lot of work needs to be done. Of course, we need to work with a number of stakeholders.
This training should even be extended to all the schools in Kasama district, so the children who are there are being protected.
Helen Bwalia for Zanis in Kasama, Northern Province.
And as we end Zanis News tonight, a recap of the headlines. Government signs agreement with African parks. AU 41st Ordinary Session of the Executive Council opens. And Lundazi onion farmers appeal for support. And on that note, we end Zanis News. My name is Chishamtale. Good evening and pleasant viewing.